For this week's Caravan of Garbage, we've actually skewed directions because of our Patreon supporters. We were going to do Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen for The Invisible Man. The Dark Universe is back, Mason.
Oh my god, is it back?
You know it's back. So we were going to do that, but after we did The Mummy, there was huge requests for us to cap off the Mummy trilogy. So we're back. We're talking The Mummy Returns. This was greenlit the morning that The Mummy opened because it was such a big hit. People loved it and they were like, get this one off the ground. And the directors and all the cast involved were like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it bigger and better. And they didn't.
That's the problem with a sequel, is you have to go, we want to recapture the magic,
yeah,
but it's also got to be bigger. It's what you liked, but more and bigger.
Yeah, and in a shorter amount of time, because it was 2 years after.
Yeah, right.
The thing about this video is it's going to be bigger and better than the first one we did, so we will accept a like from you for making it that way. So, this is the Mummy light.
Yeah, right,
It's got pillars falling instead of bookcases. Instead of a sand face, it's a water face.
Water face.
You're reading a book, but you can't work out what one of the things is in the book, and you're asking somebody what the thing in the book is. The cast is also back. They make that classic error of introducing a kid. Phantom Menace did it.
But again, like...
Zorro sequel did it.
But what are you going to do? Because this is set nearly 10 years after.
About 9 or 10 years after.
After the original. And so Rick and Evie, they're married now. And grave robbing's done really well for them because they live in this enormous mansion.
They're so rich.
And they have a kid, like a sort of snotty-ish little kid who's...
He's both of them.
He's both of them, exactly. And he's a little bit anachronistic. He's always like, oh, get a room, you two. You know, like they said in the 1930s. Oh my
God, you know they did.
Rick O'Connell's kind of the same. And Evie's had a real glow-up. Her eyebrows have grown back. Bless her.
A few people pointed out that the reason also her eyebrows are like that in the previous movie is because that was the style of the 20s.
I don't believe
it's
that.
a coincidence, I feel like.
Yeah,
there's no way they're like, listen, if there's one thing we get right in this movie, it's that big rat wheel, which was apparently a real thing, and eyebrows.
Yeah, all right. If I can put the plot back together, so it's quite similar. Evie and Rick, they find a golden bracelet, and their son puts it on, and that was the bracelet of the Scorpion King.
Yeah.
And in putting that on, that summons the Scorpion King in 7 days, and it's going to bring with him the army of Anubis, which is going to destroy the world. But the followers of Imhotep want to bring back the mummy, because if he comes back and he defeats the Scorpion King, then he can take control of the army of Anubis and destroy the world instead, and they want that for some reason?
Yeah, I feel like, though, you could just work for either of those guys.
Right?
Does
their goal is quite similar, isn't it?
So, interestingly, the son in this, Freddie Both, his name was, and is,
Sure,
he's alive, yeah. He was such a huge fan of The Mummy that he was like, on set, he'd remind people working on it what happened in the first film and what we need to do in this and how it ties
precocious.
in. Yeah. And he actually chose to audition for this over Harry Potter.
There you go.
So he turned down that completely to...
What role in Harry Potter, though?
Hermione and Hagrid. He's very multi-talented, Mason. Yeah. You know what I don't like about this movie? And there are some things that I do, because I don't think it's terrible.
In rewatching it, it's not as bad as I remember it being, but I think what happens is when you leave a big action blockbuster, what sticks in your mind is the finale.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about after this.
After the show's finished?
Yeah, after the show's finished. We'll talk about it personally in our own lives. But I think maybe that soured my whole experience. You were saying.
Well, I was going to say, I don't like how they give everyone a destiny.
That's the first thing I was going to say.
Evie is the Pharaoh's daughter, or a reincarnation of that.
The Pharaoh that Imhotep killed in the first movie, so she's out for revenge somehow.
He doesn't recognize her for some reason in the first one. I guess he's got different eyes. Also, the eyes that he stole from the first movie, that guy needed glasses. So maybe that's why he didn't
recognize her. And Rick O'Connell's some sort of guardian magi. Does he have that tattoo in the first movie?
Well, he's got leather wristbands.
Ah, okay, perfect.
The other thing is, they make him Indiana Jones, but a little bit better, because they give him the fedora at one point.
Yeah, right.
And there's also a couple of moments where he's fine with snakes. He gets one thrown at him, and he's just like, snakes, and he just is not fussed by it at all.
Only a real coward would be afraid of snakes, for any reason. Even childhood trauma. Even if you were massively traumatized by falling into a train carriage full of snakes as a child, you are a coward.
You've got a coward's heart.
That's right.
I've just made this note. It's not really relevant. But after he gets the snake thrown at him, a guy throws a knife, and he catches it like way off to the side. Like, not even close. He's like arm's length away.
Yeah, right.
Catch
so
from
what you're
that
saying
knife.
is that knife guy's he's a bad shot and he's got a coward's heart.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Which I thought was going to come back late. Oh, it does come back later. He catches the spear at the end.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good catch, though. Like, I assumed that he was.
Right.
I mean, if he wasn't, he'd be dead a long time ago.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like this movie, it was inspired, as all movies of this era was, by The Matrix.
Yeah.
I think they're like, let's do some Matrix-style stuff, but without the kind of the technical prowess or expertise or equipment to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're going to do like long-form martial arts battles without the actual long form.
Yeah.
Kind of, just we'll do it with quick cuts and nobody will notice. We noticed.
Apparently, Rachel Weisz trained for like 5 months to do those sequences. That's mostly her.
Yeah.
So that's impressive.
That
but
is
yeah,
impressive.
maybe they should have filmed it in a way where kind of
You
got
could
the
tell
sense
that, and it
of
wasn't just
that.
stunt people. Yeah.
I think the one at the end is a little bit better. You can kind of get a better sense of it. MVP of this movie, though, I think it's actually an improvement, or they build on it well. Ardith Bay. You know, I think that guy he's good in the first movie and he's expanded on in this movie.
Yes.
He's not in the third because what does he know about China? Not nothing, mate.
That's right.
This, though, interestingly enough, was The Rock's first motion picture. He'd never seen a movie. He didn't even know what one was at that point.
Incredible. And look how far he's come.
I know. So it opens with the Scorpion King. You know, it tells all these story and how he's, you know, he's cursed and whatever, and he wanders the desert. And then he bites a real gooey scorpion, and I really enjoyed that. I'm like, that's a gooey scorpion.
Yeah, that's right.
And good job, The Rock.
It foretells a sense of incredible visceral realism we're going to have with the Scorpion King for the rest of this movie, right? Just if he's going to do something, he's going to do it for real, and we're going to feel it.
We're going to know, yeah. Oh, we'll definitely get back to that.
Yeah.
Here's some good stuff, though.
Yeah.
I like the chase through London. I like how the mummy gets its legs cut off and it's like monkeying through the bus.
Yeah, that also felt very reminiscent. I don't know, maybe it's a deliberate homage, maybe it's just my brain making connections. It felt very much like any number of T-1000 chase scenes in Terminator 2. He's got the lever action rifle, he's shooting up like they're shooting up in the lift.
I can see that.
In the mental asylum in Terminator 2. Just watch them play them side by side, you know?
You want Ben to do that?
No, I wouldn't put that upon the man to make an incredible video comparison. Just frame by frame it, you know? Mwah.
The other thing I like is I think the chemistry is still good between Rick and Evie.
For sure.
You feel like they like each other and they've been married.
Yeah.
You get the sense that their relationship has grown. I like the guy who's like, this is cursed, that is cursed. You know, he makes that joke against that guy.
Oh, yeah,
I like
for
that
sure.
bit. It turns out it was cursed. Kill them all. Where do you stand on pygmy mummies? They kind of avoid the main characters a lot
Yeah.
and just tear apart everybody else.
I think they just needed a new scarab beetle, like a flesh-eating beetle kind of situation.
They just flamethrower him in this.
Yeah,
It's like,
right? Exactly. They're like, we need something that's even more dangerous. There's a moment in this where, and again, it's the bus chase sequence, I think, where they're being pursued by the mummies from the previous movie, and Rick O'Connell's like, oh, these guys again? And I'm like, yeah, me too, Rick O'Connell. A lot of the supporting cast I felt a little bit bland. Like in the previous movie, we had like the American rival adventurers, and they're kind of like...
We had Benny.
We did have Benny, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We do have the dirigible pilot, who I like quite a lot.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just kind of like generic henchmen.
Yep.
Generic cultists.
Yep.
Little generic.
They had Mr. Echo from Lost. Water's hard to CGI, isn't it?
Seems that way. Yeah.
I kind of accepted it in the first one that they just survived the plane crash with the big sand face. They crashed in some sand.
Yeah.
This, they fucking tumble out of the sky.
Right.
And they smash that ship to bits. Which he then repairs?
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently he does, yeah. Anubis's army is...
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, pretty solid, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's right.
You cannot take that away from there's heaps of them.
Some bits I also don't like, though, with the CGI. The first bit where the jungle grows around the rock, not great. Imhotep, after he sucks the life out of that first guy, I think it's time, though. Because the reason the Scorpion King doesn't look great is because...
excuse me? Again, like, I feel like when I watched it way back in the day, that was my takeaway. The Scorpion King.
Yeah.
When you
it was never good.
When you have a big action movie, you want that last action sequence to be memorable. And I guess for me, it always has been because it looks absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
You didn't think about just getting The Rock to be on top of a big animated scorpion?
Exactly what I thought.
Just a big animatronic dude?
It must have been they didn't have the time because they actually completed this 8 days before the film's release.
Oh, right. Okay, sure.
And maybe he wasn't available to do that because it's atrocious. Corridor Crew have actually gone back and tried to fix this, and they've made some improvements.
Who are they?
They've got a YouTube channel. They do special effects stuff.
Okay.
Whatever. You should definitely check them out. But it's atrocious.
Oh, it's
but
so
my
bad.
favourite moment is the moment where Rick O'Connell finally stabs the Scorpion King. There's a pause. Then you see Imhotep slide in and go,
Oh, yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah.
There's
100%.
that moment where nothing is happening.
Yep.
And then there's that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's very enjoyable.
Here's a segment of the show I like to call, it's a new segment.
Oh, yeah.
Rude Stuff. Rude Time Trivia.
Oh, rude trivia.
That's all right.
Hello.
Yeah. So Rachel Weisz's character Nefertiti was originally called Nefertiti, but the
true.
producers felt that people would make boob jokes about the name, so they changed it to that of another Egyptian queen.
Oh, my God. Rude facts after dark.
You know it is. The other rude fact is there is a cameo by Stephen Sommers in the form of...
The director.
The director, sorry, yes. He's back for this one in a big way. The handprints in the train's bathroom, that's actually Stephen Sommers. So that's him, I guess, who smeared shit all over the walls with his bare hands.
Wow.
So there you go.
See, I told you, visceral.
Visceral. Real. So look, I don't know, man. It was a big hit.
That's true, yeah.
A bigger budget, 98 million. It made
Yeah.
433. Unlike you, I didn't hate it at the time outside of the Scorpion King. I thought, this is fine. And I think it's still fine, but it's aged way worse than the other one.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. What's the difference, I wonder?
Chemistry? Characters?
Maybe, but maybe it's the mummy, even though,
It's not funny?
it's not funny. And maybe it's that...
The kid?
No,
He's not bad
He's
in
not
it.
bad.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Maybe it's the thing that they tried to make Rick too cool. Maybe it's that. He's Indiana Jones.
They did change his name to Rick Too Cool.
Exactly. Maybe that's it.
That was a retcon.
Rick Radical.
Yeah. Rick, we looked into your records at the orphanage. Your name is Rick Radical.
And maybe it's because even though the first one is set, in all kinds of places in Egypt.
Yeah.
It is a smaller scale. They didn't try to overreach. Maybe that's what it is. It's just kind of every part of that movie is kind of solid, whereas I feel like maybe this one has some kind of weak stuff that you can take out. Like the pygmy mummies and a dirigible that's going through some sort of PS2 CGI cutscene. You know what I mean?
Do you want to take out the bit where the guy puts his hand in the hole and then it chews off a lot of his hand and he takes his hand out and he's got a gooey hand?
No, I kind of want to keep that in.
They were like, listen, before we trot out the Scorpion King, people are going to hate that. Let's just do the realest thing that we can. An old bony gooey hand. That'll get people on board for this. That's what people will take away from it.
Exactly.
I nearly forgot it.
Is that how Corridor Crew fixed it? Like after the Scorpion King sequence is just a guy going like, "Ooh, look at my gooey hand." Ooh. I don't know about this movie, but I like the gooey hand at the end.
So we'll actually be back next week for The Mummy 3, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. I haven't seen that.
I've never seen
since
it.
it came out. So anyway, I'm really interested to come back to that and see how it even compares to this.
Well, yeah, because I've never seen it, so
Yeah.
I'm sort of excited to see.
You better push that excitement aside.
I hear there's a casting change. That's all I know.
there is, yeah.
Rachel Weisz declined to come back.
That's
So
right, yeah.
That's all I know.
Anyways, we'll be back next week for that. But if you do have a suggestion for Caravan of Garbage, please hit us up. And of course, on patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies, we're constantly running polls to be like, what do you guys want? What do you want to see? That's why we're doing the Mummy trilogy.
There's so many aggressive polls. You're like, my phone's blowing up.
I don't like this.
Stop it. I don't have this many opinions. Why do you keep making me do polls? We don't need you.
Get out of
here.
here. Also, of course, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. We've got an upcoming episode on The Invisible Man, probably, don't we, Mason?
I hope so.
And we're going to be doing that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie commentary,
Oh my God, I cannot wait.
which I will link below because I know, look, people want to see it and we'll get to it, don't you worry. But in the meantime, you can check that out. Did you say where you were on social
I'm
media?
at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter. You should say hi.
I'll edit that bit out though.
Excuse me.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.
Grab that gem, you guys. We will see you next week.
Goodbye. That's the end.
Nice.